Okay.
People respected him, and people feared him, and I don't care if you like him or not. That doesn't matter when you vote.
Let me bring in Cenk, who's been waiting with unusual patience, it has to be said. I put it down to you must have had a summer break of some description that's calmed you a little bit. But be honest with me, Cenk. If I, do you really believe that when it comes to standing up to world leaders like Kim Jong-un, like Putin, like Xi and others, do you really believe that Kamala Harris is somebody that will exude an air on behalf of the United States that will be more intimidating to those guys than Trump would?
It's not even close, absolutely, and I'll tell you why. You guys are looking at it, it's like all of this foreign policy's emotional vibes in the room. And Kamala Harris walks in and are they like, oh my God, I'm intimidated, or oh, it's no big deal. And Trump walks in, they're like, oh my God, I fear him. No, it's about what you're willing to do, your actions, your policies, etc. So what does Kamala Harris have? Kamala Harris has the might of the administrative state and the U.S. military behind her, and they know she's stable and she represents the general American establishment. Now, a lot of people might say, hey, I don't love the establishment, etc., but it is a fearsome entity. And everybody knows that a normal president of the United States speaks on behalf of that entity, and they fear that entity. When Donald Trump walks in the room, they're like, oh, thank God, what a clown. Okay, so easy to manipulate him. Sure. Here, let's tell him we like him. Hey, Donnie, we like you. You think, oh, I like you, I like you. I'm going to write love letters to you. So why?
Well, we're back on Piers Morgan Uncensored on YouTube, and what a panel he has tonight. We got the inimitable Cenk Uygur, excuse me, I'm saying it wrong, I'm sure, from the Young Turks. We have Vinny, I see, on the right there from Valuetainment, and a couple other people, and of course we have Piers Morgan. And the question, apparently, is what foreign leaders would be more feared, which president? Would President Kamala Harris or President Donald Trump be more feared and more respected by foreign leaders? And Cenk's initial point, I thought he was going to make a decent point. He talked about how, if Kamala Harris goes into a room with foreign leaders like Vladimir Putin or whoever, that, of course, she will have the might of the American establishment behind her, the might of the American empire behind her, because let's face it, America is an empire, and that includes, well, if you're an empire, that means you back it up with military force, which of course is what America does and has been doing for decades. Yes, but you could say the same about any president. That will be the same. That same situation will be in place, whoever the president is. And now he seems to be saying that Donald Trump is not feared at all because other world leaders know that they can manipulate him simply by playing to his ego and saying nice things about him. I don't think it really works like that. I think, there's absolutely a psychological game that goes on between world leaders, and some people are better negotiators than others, and some people are worse. But I have a feeling that whatever good point Cenk might have been making in the beginning is about to go off the rails here. Let's see what he does. We're here on the Piers Morgan Uncensored Show. Let's give it a listen.
He said he was writing love letters to Kim Jong-un.
What? Love letters to Kim Jong-un. Okay, here we go.
Kim Jong-un built 6 nukes. What happened, tough guy? You let him build all those nukes, you did nothing about it because you're an idiot, so easily manipulated. You think Putin doesn't know that? They do a meeting, Trump comes out and he's like, Putin is right, not our intelligence, the U.S. sucks, Putin is right. That weak guy just cares about money. You know what he says about the Saudis? They give me $30-40 million for an apartment. Shouldn't I like them? Obviously corrupt, easily manipulated, a tiny mind. He's done nothing but encourage our enemies by being so weak and such an obvious narcissist.
I love how liberals, progressives, leftists, Democrats, whatever you want to call them, are now all talking about countries that are our enemies. For the peace-loving liberals and progressives and Democrats, they sure like talking about war and enemies these days. Last time Russia was our enemy, officially, was back when it was the Soviet Union. And yes, it was during the Cold War. I'm old enough. I remember the Cold War. I was, Cold War was still going on when I was born, when I was a child. And up to when I was in college. So the Cold War still existed. And yes, you could talk about the Soviet Union as our enemy back then. Typical 80s movies were made with Russian bad guys and all of that. Russia is not the Soviet Union. Today's Russia is not the Soviet Union. Today's Russia, in my view, now you feel free to disagree with me in the comments, but today's Russia is not our enemy. Of course, it seems that the progressives and the liberals and Democrats and all these good people who are so peaceful and peace-minded are hell-bent on starting shit with Russia and with China and with North Korea and with Iran. Makes you really wonder, doesn't it? And it just goes to show who's actually in charge here. It sort of makes the case for a deep state that has interests which are not those of the American people, but rather interests of their own. Because when war breaks out, somebody makes money, and it's not the ordinary people.
Do you know how easily I could play that guy if I'm in a room with him? You just go tweak here, tweak there, and he's discombobulated, right? And if you're not going to do it by flattery, which is the easiest thing in the world, you just get under his skin a little bit. Hey, your hair doesn't look good. Oh, what? I'm going to attack you. Come on, this guy's a fool. Look, all of you know it. All of you know it. That's why you're spending all your time about, oh, look at Kamala Harris. She's a slightly normal politician. Ooh, that's so scary. Come on. Piers, you're going to ignore the fact that the other guy is totally unhinged and the easiest man in the world to manipulate.
No,
like
I think that,
listen,
we've talked about Trump a lot. I've known, as Anthony and others, I've known Trump nearly 20 years, right? I've spoken to him many times, interviewed him 40 times. I know Trump very, very well. Good, bad, and ugly. And I think he has equal measures of all three of those things. But I think that your characterization of him is almost, it's cartoonesque. And in a way that plays into Trump.
He is a cartoon character.
Well, maybe, but it plays into Trump's hands when you over-demonize him.
Good point, Piers. I have to admit, Piers, I've been off and on, hot and cold about Piers over the years. But recently, he makes a lot of good points. Let's put it that way. And as he said, he's met a lot of important people over the years. He's interviewed a lot of important people, including Trump. And we all know that Trump, I love how Trump's opponents and his enemies call him a narcissist. And he's so egocentric. Wow, that's an insult? Name me a politician at national level in America who is not a narcissist, egocentric, self-interested, greedy, corrupt, even. Now, wow, that just goes with the territory.
When I hear the left in America just ranting away about Trump morning, noon, night, I think you're playing him the wrong way.
Piers, he is that bad. He is that bad. You're
Piers,
actively
I want to
covering.
meet Cenk in the
Piers,
middle.
you know what is? Hold on. One more thing. You guys, you know what you sound like? You sound like Democrats that were saying that Joe Biden is young and dynamic behind the scenes. Guys, we have eyes and ears. We can see Donald Trump. He's an unhinged man. The only reason you don't think so is because you're so biased that you're like, oh, it's normal to terminate the Constitution or try to murder your vice
before I want to come to
president.
Vinny.
It's normal to terminate the Constitution. Yeah, is that really what Trump is trying to do? Maybe Cenk will give an example. Yeah, let's keep going.
That's not normal.
Hang on, I want to come to Vinny. What I want to say once again, Cenk, you shouldn't misconstrue the fact I've known Trump a long time and say I see the good, bad, and ugly. You should never misconstrue this for me saying that Americans should vote for him or that I would vote for him or any of those things. You seem incapable of assessing the stuff that comes out of my mouth in an accurate way. You want to portray me as a die-hard MAGA Republican. I'm not. People in England listening to this would laugh their heads off. I was editor of the Daily Mirror newspaper for 10 years. Huh?
Did you see your intro? It was 99% negative against Kamala Harris.
Well, no, it actually wasn't.
Every time I come on here,
exactly
you're
my point.
Totally in favor of Donald Trump.
It wasn't, but you didn't listen properly because all you want to hear is Trump bashing. Let me bring in Vinny. Vinny, look, Trump has got a bit of a problem here. There's no doubt the dynamic of this race changed dramatically. I spoke to Trump the night before it changed, which was a week after he got shot. He saw me on Fox saying how it was extraordinary that he was back on stage at another rally, and we had a perfectly nice conversation. And I said to him, I reckon you've got this election sewn up now because of this assassination attempt. And he went, let me tell you, if I've learned one thing in the last 3 weeks, it's that 4 months is a very long time. Anything could happen. And the next day, Joe Biden quit the race, and all the momentum has been behind Kamala Harris and the Democrats ever since. And I've detected with Trump that he's really struggled to work out how to attack the new threat. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a very good point. I agree. Watching from abroad, from afar, it seems that Trump and the Republicans have been totally discombobulated by Joe Biden pulling out of the race and being replaced by Kamala Harris. They thought they were going for a layup, and frankly, as far as I'm concerned, it should still be a layup. But the dynamic changed, the situation has changed, the game has changed, and somehow they don't know what to do. I don't know. Is it really such a big deal? Why? There's so much you can put on Kamala Harris. I mean, it was just a few years ago when Kamala Harris was a candidate, I guess, in the primaries. She wanted to be, a candidate, the Democratic nominee for president. And she got 0 votes. Nobody wanted her. She was hated. And now, suddenly, in this AstroTurf campaign, she's a leader. Everybody loves her, suddenly, amongst the Democrats. Of course, they have no choice because Biden dropped out. But the fact is, there's any number of things that the Republicans and Trump could do to combat Kamala Harris and to put her, to see her off. But somehow they've been discombobulated. Trump is now adopting Democratic talking points. Kamala Harris, to her credit, or to the party's credit, seems to be adopting Republican talking points. The whole thing is like a topsy-turvy world. Let's see what Vinny is going to have to say. But by the way, if you like this kind of comment, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and it helps me to keep producing this content. So let's see what Vinny's going to say.
Well, I mean, and Cenk made a good point. That establishment, the problem is the establishment. And Donald Trump, and I don't care how angry, how much hate Anthony has for him, because, Anthony was fired, after 10 days, it sounds like a bitter ex-employee. Cenk has Trump derangement syndrome, whether you like it or not, brother. They hate him. And what people like you don't tend to understand, Cenk, you know what people like you don't understand? Everybody is tired of that BS rhetoric. It's one man going against the establishment for us. And you know what, Piers? It's crazy. You mentioned the president of the ex-president of the United States was shot in the head, okay? And then after a week, nobody was talking about it. The legacy media, mainstream media, 98% of it is Trump is this evil man. And there is a problem, Piers, because people are brainwashed into thinking it's all Trump. Because people like me and Emily know, we're thinking even this is bigger than Trump. Okay? This is us against that establishment, Cenk, and it's never going to go away. And just to give you a little example, Piers, about how much these people have just hate and disgust for Trump, last Monday, he was at Arlington National Cemetery. Okay? He was invited by Gold Star families, families of soldiers who were murdered in Afghanistan in 2021. They invited him. They wanted photos. Guess what the media said? He's taking it. This is a campaign ploy and all this BS. You know who else was invited? Joe Biden was invited. Kamala Harris was invited, and none of them showed up. Biden was on the beach trying to use his cell phone, and Kamala was in her freaking God knows how many $1 million mansion, okay? Guys, stop, Cenk, this whole Trump talk, we're done with it, okay? And if they didn't cheat, I know we're going to get into Zuckerberg and FBI and Facebook. If they didn't cheat, you guys would be done with him in November. But that system, that same establishment, we're just tired of it. We're tired of that system. And you're right, Piers. There is a problem because when 98% of the media is he's Hitler, he's this, he's evil, what else? FBI, he's gonna use the FBI as the Gestapo. Are you freaking nuts? The FBI has been used as a Gestapo for the past 7 years against Donald Trump, okay? And if it can happen to him, I'm worried about the future of the Republican Party.
All right.
All right, Vinny was on fire there. He made some very good points. People are just fed up with this Trump derangement syndrome. I've seen it all. It's been going on since 2016. It was just ramped up. It seemed impossible that every single day during Donald Trump's term of president, during his presidency, the TDS just ramped up every single day. It just, every day I saw it getting higher and higher. And I saw it personally because my entire family, apart from me, is totally anti-Trump, has massive Trump derangement syndrome. And the same playbook is coming out now. Oh, if Trump's elected, it's going to be the end of our democracy. Oh, if Trump's elected, the Gestapo's, like Vinny was saying, he's going to use the FBI as his personal Gestapo to go after political opponents, etc., etc., etc. It's absolute madness. So Vinny's making a good point. The election's in less than 2 months. It's going to be an interesting. We're in for quite a roller coaster ride between then and now. So hope you guys come back. I'm going to be making a lot more content in the meantime. If you like this, please like and subscribe. And yeah, have a good one.